The passing of Robert Duvall on February 15, 2026, marks the end of an era for American cinema. As a titan of the new Hollywood movement, his career spanned the transition from classical storytelling to the gritty realism of the 1970s and beyond. Professional comments categorized by their focus on his legacy, technical craft, and most iconic roles. Robert Duvall was the ultimate actor's actor, a performer who prioritized the truth of the character over the ego of the star. His passing at 95 marks the loss of one of the final pillars of the 1970s, New Hollywood Golden Age. Duvall proved that a supporting role could be as foundational to a film's success as the lead. From Boo Radley to Tom Hagen, he mastered making a massive impact with minimal screen time. His roommates, Dustin Hoffman and Gene Hackman, often spoke of his intensity. That internal fire fueled 6 decades of excellence. He didn't just play characters, he inhabited them with a quiet gravitas that commanded every frame. The industry has lost a supremely versatile talent who transitions seamlessly between blockbusters and indie passion projects. Duvall's career is a blueprint for longevity in an industry that often favors the flash in the pan. He was a bridge between the method acting of Sanford Meisner and the modern cinematic style. His military background likely contributed to the disciplined, stoic energy he brought to his most commanding roles. He remains one of the few actors to have been part of multiple Best Picture winners that are considered the greatest of all time. Duvall's refusal to appear in The Godfather Part 3 over salary equity showed a professional who knew his worth. He was the one no. To lead a title that perfectly encapsulates his ability to anchor a film from any position. His work in The Apostle showed he was just as formidable behind the camera as he was in front of it. A 7-time Oscar nominee, Duvall's consistency was matched only by his humility. He avoided the Hollywood lifestyle, choosing the peace of Middleburg, Virginia, over the spotlight. Duvall's performances were masterclasses in coiled fury, that sense that something explosive was always just beneath the surface. He elevated every script he touched, often turning secondary characters into the most memorable parts of the movie. The boots and Stetson roles he played late in his career redefined the modern Western archetype. His portrayal of Robert E. Lee in Gods and Generals showcased his ability to handle complex historical figures with nuance. Robert Duvall didn't play types, he played human beings in all their flawed glory. The family's request to honor him by watching a great film is the perfect tribute to a man who lived for the craft. He was a quiet giant whose influence will be felt for generations of actors to come. Duvall's ability to sing his own parts in Tender Mercies added a layer of authenticity that earned him his well-deserved Oscar. He belonged to a generation of actors who valued the ensemble over the individual. Even in his 80s, in films like The Judge, he was still delivering powerhouse, award-worthy performances. His career path, starting late at 31 and peaking in his 50s and 60s, is an inspiration for late bloomers everywhere. Duvall was a master of the American stoic, representing a specific type of grit that is disappearing from the screen. He leaves behind a filmography that serves as a library of the best of American storytelling. A true legend has taken his final bow, but his work remains indelible. Duvall's performance as Boo Radley is a masterclass in nonverbal storytelling. He didn't say a word, yet he stayed with us forever. The Meisner technique was evident in his work. He was always truly listening to his scene partners. In Apocalypse Now, his Kilgore was terrifying because he was so casual about the chaos around him. His delivery of "I love the smell of napalm in the morning" is perhaps the most misquoted yet iconic line in history. In The Godfather, his Tom Hagen was the perfect ice to the Corleone's fire. He had a unique ability to play authority figures who were both respected and deeply lonely. Duvall's use of silence was a weapon. He knew exactly when to let a look do the work of a monologue. His southern accents were never caricatures. He studied the cadence of the people he was portraying. In Network, he played the corporate shark Frank Hackett with a frantic, cold energy that perfectly countered the satire. The physicality he brought to Lonesome Dove made Augustus McCrae feel like a man who had actually lived in the saddle. His directing in The Apostle was brave, raw, and entirely devoid of Hollywood artifice. He was a master of the simmering performance, always one step away from a boiling point. Duvall could play low-key better than anyone, making the mundane feel profoundly significant. His work in The Great Santini captured the toxic complexity of a military father with heartbreaking precision. He was never afraid to be unlikable on screen, which is what made his characters so believable. The pause in his delivery, much like the ones discussed in sports, was used to keep the audience off balance. He understood the rhythm of a scene. He knew when to lead and when to follow. Duvall's late career work in Get Low proved he still had the supple acting chops of a man half his age. He brought a sense of blue-collar work ethic to every role he took. His chemistry with Michael Caine in Secondhand Lions was a beautiful display of two masters at work. Duvall didn't need CGI or flashy editing to be commanding. He just needed a Stetson and a stare. The authenticity of his Max Sledge in Tender Mercies remains the gold standard for portraying rural life. He was an expert at playing the voice of reason in worlds where reason was a rare commodity. His performance in Falling Down as the retiring cop Prendergast provided the much-needed emotional anchor to the film. Duvall could communicate more with a tilt of his head than most actors can with a 5-page script. He treated small roles in films like True Grit with the same respect as his leading parts. His commitment to self-financing the Apostle showed his dedication to the purity of the story. Duvall was the king of the slow burn, letting the character reveal themselves over time. He had a rare earthiness that made him relatable to audiences, regardless of the character's social status. Technically, he was flawless. Emotionally, he was fearless. We will always remember him under that black Stetson, embodying the spirit of a different time. For many, Robert Duvall was the quintessential American cowboy. He taught us that faith and redemption are messy, as seen in his incredible run as the Apostle. Generations grew up watching him. He felt like a gruff but wise grandfather to the cinema-going public. His voice, rhythmic and certain ease, an inseparable part of the American soundscape. He made us feel for Boo Radley, a character defined by fear, and turned him into a symbol of protection. The smell of napalm line has transcended cinema to become a part of our daily vernacular. Duvall's Middleburg, Virginia home was a testament to his love for the American countryside he often filmed. He was a link to the Korean War generation, bringing that real-world experience to his military roles. His marriage to Luciana was a beautiful partnership that saw him embrace Argentine culture and dance. Fans aren't just losing an actor, they're losing a storyteller who helped us understand ourselves. The lack of a formal service is so Duvall, unpretentious, and focused on the beauty of life. Watching Lonesome Dove became a rite of passage for many, largely due to his performance. He proved that you don't need to be a pretty boy to be a leading man in Hollywood. His presence in The Godfather helped define what it meant to be a consigliere in the public imagination. Robert Duvall showed us that even gruff cops have souls, and ruthless executives have fears. He was a quiet advocate for the arts, supporting small theaters and independent films throughout his life. His portrayal of Max Sledge gave a voice to the struggles of rural America and the power of small mercies. In a world of celebrities, Robert Duvall remained an artist. He lived a full 95 years, and yet it still feels like he had more stories to tell. Cinema is a little less bright today without his supreme versatility. He was the glue that held some of the most complex scripts in history together. His legacy is written in the credits of the best films ever made. Robert Duvall wasn't just in the movies. He was the movies. Rest in peace, Tom Hagen. The family and the world will miss you.